TikTok is now the most used social media app by Generation Z.
Whoa, the most evil business in the world? Oh my lord. Well, I gotta watch this. I gotta find out why it's so evil. Very sussy.
With TikTok having more engagement than YouTube and 1 billion active monthly users. It's very clear that if you've been paying attention, TikTok is now taking over the world. Everyone you know and probably yourself have the app on your phone right now.
I mean, yeah, it's the thing. It really appeals to people's like way that they want to consume content. Just a ton of like mindless shit that you can scroll through. It's a lot of bathroom content. I think a lot of it is like people just feel the need to always have something in their hands now, or something stimulating. People can't just. I feel like back in the day, people would just like sit down and just look straight forward, and they would just be like, "Wow." There wouldn't even be a thought in their head. They'd just be like feeling the wind. That's how like the older people I used to work with acted. They could just stand still. They could just stand still, and like that was the. You walk up to them, they're like, "Oh, they're in a trance. Like, what's happening? Oh, I'm just hanging out." You didn't talk to me. I was just standing still for an hour, I was just leaning against this wall for an hour. Oh, okay. Nowadays, doesn't matter what you're doing, always got to be on your phone. You talking to your wife or your girlfriend, on the phone. You laying in bed, you're on the phone. You eating, you're on the phone. Taking a shit, you're on the phone. You're driving in your car, listening to a podcast. You're doing your homework, listening to a podcast. Playing a video game, listening to a podcast. Listening to a YouTube video. That's just the way things work now. People are always consuming. There's like no break. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And yet countries around the world are starting to ban TikTok. The US military has banned the app on all the app on your phone right now. And yet countries around the world are starting.
Inappropriate content. Misleading youths, save children. They're banning it for a lot of inappropriate content. I wonder what that means. This was updated 4 years ago. When the fuck did they ban this? This is from 2021. Well, this happened like last year. I wonder what it is. Is it like a data problem?
To ban TikTok. The US military has banned the app on all devices and the devices of their family members. And now, according to top politicians, researchers, and the CIA, TikTok now poses the greatest threat to national security.
Well, yeah, because there has something to do with China being able to access like our information, potentially.
But even darker is that just in the last few months, experts have now discovered that TikTok is creating a mental illness pipeline. A pipeline that almost no one knows about. It's barely been reported on, but it's a pipeline that is affecting all of us.
Well, I imagine that there'd have to be more studies, but I wouldn't doubt it.
In fact, this TikTok pipeline is becoming so damaging that President Joe Biden was forced to announce that TikTok is now, quote, a matter of genuine concern. But how on earth could a stupid lip-syncing app become a national security threat? What makes this app so dangerous?
I feel like what makes it so dangerous is that everybody virtue signals about everything now. Not even that. No. Like, people pretend to have problems that they don't have. Like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, I have like ADHD, I have OCD, I have Tourette's, but like you don't really hear me talking about it because I don't feel like I need to. But on TikTok, if you're a fucking 16-year-old with those things, or even you don't have them, they're pretending like I have tics sometimes, right? But like a lot of people who watch me, it takes them a while. They'll be like, Papa, why do you blink weird? Because sometimes I just blink like weird. Like that's mostly how it is. Sometimes it gets a little, if I'm more stressed, it's worse. But you see like people that probably don't even have Tourette's, or maybe even have like some Tourette's, like me. Yeah, TikTok, very funny. They're like, and then they start like screaming words. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I don't think that you should struggle in silence, but what happened to just like keeping it to your sphere? You know, like, hey, I have a particular issue. Let the people in my sphere like help me out with it. Let me confide in them. But they're on TikTok blasting their shit. And honestly, I feel like there are people with like legitimate traumas too that are signal boosting their traumas. And like, I feel like in the future, that's gonna be part of their trauma. I know it sounds so weird, but like expressing a deep trauma to the internet isn't gonna always, I don't think it's positive. I think you should get it out to a therapist, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, someone very close to you. But like, it's a weird feeling. It's so hard to like process that. And I feel like it could be one of those things where like a kid's like, maybe they think it's helping them then, but then also maybe they're like, well, I can get some kind of social currency from it. And like, it's like fucking up their brains where they're like, fuck, and they express it. And I feel like years later, they're going to be like, wow, I really wish I never did that. You know? And it's hard to explain, but there's so many fucking crazy issues with that. You know? I don't know. You know?
Well, to understand this, we need to begin looking at the start of this pipeline. It all starts with the average TikToker waking up and checking TikTok on autopilot. Just a couple videos before I get up, you think to yourself. But before you've gotten out of bed, you've been scrolling for 30 minutes and didn't even realize it. These short
Bro, you know what the worst thing is too? You could do that while you start the day. You could just go take a shit. But I do that too. I wake up and I'm like, I could probably do this while I shit. Nah, I better not. Better just do this.
Short bursts of 30-second videos serve as noise, empty distractions that have already increased your dopamine tolerance. And this is how the TikTok mental illness pipeline begins. From the minute you wake up looking at your phone to the rest of the hours you spend on TikTok, you are constantly rewiring neural pathways that help manage your emotions, self-control, and information processing. Which is why if you have TikTok, it is destroying your attention span at a faster rate than any other social media app. A study from August 2021 found that TikTok destroys the part of your brain that inhibits self-control.
Well, let's just say destroys it. You're using inflammatory words, but we found more undesired symptoms were related to lower self-controllability among young adults, and about 5.9% of TikToker users maybe have significant problematic use. Okay.
But even worse, this happens to everyone. If you right now have even a limited exposure to TikTok, it only takes a few hours to make your brain addicted to the flow of videos that TikTok endlessly supplies. The same study found that this constant stream of videos damages your prefrontal cortex, and this damage is permanent, which is why it's now reported that we have the attention spans of goldfish. And when you have a low attention span, this also destroys your self-control.
Is it permanent? I don't know.
Studies show.
Why do you think it's permanent? Only because they're not showing that it's permanent, are they? Like, I mean,
that we have the attention spans of control, it's very likely for you to become much more depressed. But you see, this is just the start of how damaging TikTok is. This is just a small taste of things to come, because it only gets much worse from here.
Huh?
But before we continue, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Morning Brew.
Whoa, it sounds like a coffee brand, guys. You should buy Morning Brew. On this video, TikTok, the most evil business in the world from Moon. All right, you can go there, you check it out.
Now understanding that there's a direct link between TikTok and the mental illness epidemic we are wallowing in. A much bigger correlation than any other social media app. But what's more pressing is that TikTok actively promotes this mental illness epidemic.
I feel like, well, TikTok doesn't promote, okay, let's not pretend TikTok does it. TikTok doesn't even fuck about you. You're a person that makes money for them. People promote this.
Than any other social
these
media
hashtags.
But what's more pressing is that TikTok actively promotes this.
People do this. People love, like, dude, this is the, we have like this insane generation of people who love to be oppressed. I'm not saying that doesn't mean that there is real oppression. I'm just saying they love it. It's like they want to be oppressed. I am depressed. I have anxiety. I'm not saying that you don't. But first of all, maybe some of that depression and anxiety comes from, like, I don't know, you sitting on your fucking phone all day instead of actually doing something. But on top of that, again, so much social currency. Ooh, I got oppressed in this way. Ooh, when I'm in like a drama where like, or a fucking, let's not call it a drama, a confrontation, where like I have the eyes on me, even when I come out, when people are like, I probably got to, woo, I don't like it. Like, I really appreciate people who reach out to me. They're like, Papa got on your side. I get that. But like, it's to me, it's just like, I don't even like the positive thing because I never wanted in the first place. I wanted to be like left alone. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I mean? And it's one of those things though. But this is what happens with some of these content creators, bro. John Swan, the guy who like fucking basically sensationalized some story because an 18-year-old was flirting with a 15-year-old consensually. And listen, you might think those age gaps are a little weird, but in our society, that's a reasonable age gap. I would personally change it a little bit, but we have to understand that we work within the moral society. And he's like, this guy's a predator in some capacity, blah, 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 because he got positive attention for talking negatively about somebody else, and you're always chasing that high. That's the problem. All right. Even in like the worst era of my TikTok, I was like, I had a period where I was posting a bunch of videos and they were making like a lot of views. I was making a lot of money. And then like some, you know, the views go up and down, and then they started to go down. So instead of just chilling the fuck out and realizing that, I went fucking goblin mode. I started like just saying dumb shit. You know what I mean? It is weirdly addicting in a weird way. You have to keep your shit together.
Mental illness epidemic. The mental illness epidemic it's cultivating. You see, the culture of TikTok creates a perfect breeding ground for mental illness. And oftentimes, this is a classic problem with all social media, where people become anxious and depressed when they see other people's perfectly manufactured lives online, creating an impossible
That's true too.
standard for young people to achieve.
That's true. Yeah, they show the best of their life. That's absolutely true. And then you look at that and you go, like, comparatively, I'm doing worse. I swear to God, like, we have a problem with wealth distribution and poverty in America, and probably more than just America, but keep it to America since I'm American-based, you know? I guarantee you poorer people wouldn't be as disgruntled if they didn't constantly see rich people all over the internet to compare their lives to. I'm just saying, it would make it a lot easier for people to be, like, happier if they didn't constantly see this, like, influx of insane information.
This has been reported with Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and it's been happening for years on all social media. And even before social media, this was happening in magazines and
But now, like, you're getting incentivized to show not just the best, but also the worst of your life. It's like fucking insane.
on TV. And whilst TikTok does contribute to this problem in a massive way, this doesn't account for the drastic rise in all mental illnesses. TikTok, unlike other social media apps, glamorizes mental illness.
We can't just blame this on TikTok, though. You can't just blame everything on TikTok with an increase in like mental illnesses. So like when that's very vague. A lot of it's like anxiety and depression related, and a lot of that has to do with like the way that we sensationalize political shit as well. Where it's not just TikTok, it is every single mainstream media network that sensationalizes the fuck out of every single story and is constantly instilling fear into people. We can't just talk about how TikTok. It's not just TikTok. I would say the news and like our government is the number one anxiety creator. Number one.
With its advanced algorithms, TikTok is creating whole subcultures dedicated to the promotion and self-diagnosis of mental illness. In fact, it's very likely that if you go on the TikTok front page, you'll often see the commodification of mental illness, something quirky and as a personality trait.
Well, not me. I see a lot of memes and dogs. Right? Let's just do it. Let's see what's on our. Let's see what's on our. Let's see what's on our thing. Let's see. Opening up TikTok right now. It's a guy. It's some weird guy. It's a video game shitposting, pretty much, and jokes. Because I'm not a fucking psychopath, so I don't view all this bullshit. Scroll past it if you see it.
Now, obviously, this is bad for those who actually suffer from mental illness, but this has gotten so bad that TikTok is actively fabricating entire lists of symptoms, syndromes, and disorders.
That's true. Think about like people with actual mental illnesses, and like imagine the girls or the guys, anybody who goes online and they pretend that they have autism, even though like they don't, for instance, right? Or you could pick anything else. You could pick anxiety, depression. And then now you as a viewer who doesn't understand these issues, you just look at that person and goes, oh, that's what they're like. Oh, okay. And now you have a really warped sense of like the support a person might need in the real world when they have a real issue. This is a real thing. It's fucking real.
Which in itself is creating this whole new phenomena. In 2021, roughly 13 teens were referred to the Rush Medical Center. These were mostly teenage girls, and they began to exhibit the abnormal involuntary actions of Tourette's syndrome, where they would have, quote, involuntary actions from jerking arm movements to curse words to head and neck twitches. They were also reported as hurting themselves, littering their bodies with cuts and bruises. And strangely, one of the medical workers working with them noticed that a fair majority of the teens were saying the word beans in a British accent. This same medical worker then found out that all these girls shared the same interest in watching TikTok videos about Tourette's, with the researcher finding that the top Tourette's activist on TikTok was a British woman who shouted beans frequently as part of her condition. This TikTok phenomena has weird parallels to the 2001 anthrax attacks, where people who never contracted the disease developed similar symptoms after watching too many reports on anthrax.
Wow, wait, are some people getting gaslit into thinking that they have mental illnesses or something? That's interesting. I mean, that's a theory.
This weird TikTok mental illness phenomena was then further proven in later years. Researchers found that due to the isolation of lockdowns leading to increased screen time, huge swaths of teenagers developed mental illnesses, with many of these young TikTok users having TikTok-induced tics.
There's another issue too. People doing fucking OnlyFans on there.
But then when society went back to normal in 2022, this spike in Tourette's went down considerably. They discovered that people who watch TikTok videos on Tourette's would actually develop Tourette's just by watching these videos.
Would they though? Would they actually develop it? Because how do you know if they were actually developing it or if they were like forcing themselves to believe that they had it? I mean, dude, you're talking about young people going through like puberty, a really complicated time in their life. They're really impressionable and they really want to be unique. People really want to be unique. Like when I was in high school, oh, I love metal, bro. New metal's not real. Fuck this. You know what I mean? That was like my identity. Now people are having like fucking like TikTok identities and shit. You know what I mean?
And then later on in DSM-5 TikTok, the author found the promotion of mental disorders on TikTok took up front page real estate on the app, with many of these influencers faking mental illness for clout. Like for example the TikToker called Tix and Roses. Tix and Roses claimed to have suffered from Tourette's by the age of 6, and by 2017, she had created a TikTok account to spread awareness for Tourette's and promote her business. It didn't take long for her to amass over 500,000 TikTok followers. However, suspicion was high from the moment that Tix and Roses gained any semblance of a following, because not all people with Tourette's present vocal tics. In fact, a vast majority of people with Tourette's don't have this symptom. However,
yeah, like I have most of mine are just kind of facial. You know, sometimes like my head a little bit. But mine aren't like bad at all. Like I don't need like any actual help. You know what I mean? It's just like pretty like little stuff for me.
If someone with Tourette's has tics, then there tends to be a few key characteristics that are mostly considered.
Let's see, blinking, yeah, eye rolling, probably. Now, dude, I can't watch this. I can't. I can't read the list. No, bro. What? This is fucked up. When I start reading this stuff, it like gets into my brain more, and now it's gonna be so weird. It's so weird. I'm having like fucking like I'm kind of like I'm going a little weird. Jerking head or limbs sometimes. That one's bad. Like okay, yeah, no. Shoulder shrugging, not so, dude. I'm gonna start doing this. Oh, I got
consistent with other sufferers of Tourette's.
That was bad. Actually, this is actually not good. Okay, it's like weird. It's so weird how it manifests. Fuck. Because when I think about it more, it like happens more. It's so bizarre, bro. I hate it. Okay. I just fucking trolled myself. Holy shit. That was fucking bad, bro.
That the tics are semi-voluntary and can often result in injury. They are also random, though generally happen in batches or in groups. And lastly, they are commonplace. The urges are always present in day-to-day life, and suppressing the tics for
not always. I don't know. For me, when like sometimes it goes away. Sometimes I'm just sometimes I'm just taking and not realizing it too. But
extended periods of time is close to impossible. Of course, all these symptoms can vary, but there is a general pattern. However, Ticks and Roses seem to defy lots of these rules. Her tics seemed to conveniently be timed and had a regularity to them that was atypical to say the least. It all seemed staged, but this wasn't proof by itself. However, this was the first
how do you prove that? How do you prove it's fake? You know?
Suspicion of many, which led people who investigated Ticks and Roses down a dark path of deception and disgust. In hindsight, it was very clear that Ticks and Roses videos were staged. The combination of how fake they looked compared to actual Tourette's, as well as how Ticks and Roses would smile into the camera and laugh at every other tick, made a convincing case by itself.
Yeah, that's actually really weird to me, because like it's not like I was like joking around, I guess, around before. I don't know. It's not really fun, you know. Like but I guess I was laughing a little bit because it started getting triggered. So I guess maybe I feel like most of the time it's just distressing. Like when I would make TikToks, because I used to be really popular, I would always I made my videos in short bursts. So like I would record for for maybe a couple seconds and I would stop. Then I would think about the next thing to say. So, and part of it was because I didn't want people to see anything from me. I didn't want anybody to see any Tourette's. When I first started streaming, it was very embarrassing when people would talk about it. They'd be like, "What's wrong with your face?" They'd be like, "What's wrong with your face, Papa?" I was like, "What the fuck, bro? Why would you say like that, dude?" You know? Because it's embarrassing, dude. I don't want people to know about that shit. You know what I mean? Like, I keep it to myself, but...
Although all the lies unraveled, when people started to investigate the other things that Ticks and Roses had posted, what they found was shocking. Ticks and Roses had numerous channels dedicated to topics other than Tourette's, and on these videos, she would never tick at all. For example, she had a TikTok dedicated to crystal healing, where she displayed no visible tics whatsoever, but she did have an excuse. These were just short videos, so she could have suppressed her tics. But then, in an hour-long livestream, she went the entire duration reading poetry without exhibiting a single tick. This is impossible for anyone who actually suffers from Tourette's, and it was something she couldn't weasel out of easy, especially considering the symptoms she had shown off on her Tourette's account. As this evidence spread like wildfire, Ticks and Roses tried one last trick. In a futile attempt to prove her critics wrong, she uploaded a letter from a doctor that seemed to prove she had Tourette's. However, the letter seemed off, in much the same way as her tics did. There were numerous mistakes. Some of her diagnoses were listed twice, all were left extremely broad.
Why does she need so many diagnoses? Tourette's, fibromyalgia, oh my god, she's got everything. Yeah, it seems like, bro, you know what's fucked up? Autism spectrum, migraines, ADHD. Bro, I feel like you wouldn't have all this shit. I feel like you wouldn't have all this shit, dude, at the same fucking time. I mean, maybe you could, but...
Which no real doctor would do. But worst of all is why did the doctor refer to her as a very pleasant 27-year-old left-handed lady?
What?
Even the logo at the...
Wait, what is that?
Worst of all is why did the doctor refer to her as a very pleasant...
Left-handed lady who presents today for... She notes that the tics started at age 6 or 7, but she recalls being for them as a kid and tried to substitute them with less non-whatever.
27-year-old left-handed lady. Even the logo at the top of the sheet looked fake. In fact, it matched the first Google image result, but didn't match the logo on official documents later uploaded by a Reddit user. With her web of lies falling apart and her videos being mobbed by people exposing her fraud, Ticks and Roses vanished from the platform. And now Ticks and Roses is just the tip of the iceberg here. The fact that faking a mental illness is any way desirable on the platform is the real problem with TikTok.
She's very quirky to be weaponizing mental illness.
You see, TikTok actively promotes these sorts of channels. And I mean, who knows at this point how...
All right, can we stop saying that TikTok actively does it? I'm not a fan of TikTok, but like TikTok doesn't give a fuck about any of you. Okay? They notice trends and they say, that's it. It's all automated. If a bunch of dumb fuck kids are like, I really like to pretend I have fucking Tourette's. That's what's going to be put into people's eyes. Okay? What's a little bit funny, it's not really funny, but it's kind of cosmically funny, is TikTok was actually outed a couple of years ago for trying to suppress disabilities and people with disabilities. This would fall in that category. And they got blasted. Their argument is that they didn't want people to get bullied. So they reversed it. And now it's fucking exploding. So honestly, you could argue TikTok never wanted to sensationalize any of these mental illnesses. They wanted to prevent it so people with these particular issues wouldn't get bullied. But people said they should, and I get why. Like I understand why people said they shouldn't do it, and then people said don't do that anymore, and they reversed it. And then what's happening now? Boom! I'm just saying, brother. I'm just saying.
How many millions of young people have been exposed to content that celebrates and promotes mental illness? And then once these users are exposed to this sort of content, they are then caught in these algorithm loops that make the users mentally ill themselves.
I don't think that it makes them anything. I think that they want to be fucking quirky because they're boring. Some of them are boring losers. People who fake mental illness are boring losers with nothing going on in their fucking lives, and they need to feel quirky. That's it. Every person who fakes a mental illness is a boring fucking loser. And instead of just trying to be a more interesting person, they pretend to have something that's very stressful on somebody else. That's the reality of the fucking situation, motherfucker. You know it. Oh, I'm so quirky. I have Tourette's. Oh, I'm so quirky. Oh, I have this. Bro, you're just boring. It's the truth.
Social media in general plays a huge role in developing one's identity and personality, but with TikTok, this process works in such a powerful way, where the app actively recommends these channels to exactly the kinds of people who would be most vulnerable to it. People suffering from Tourette's will see a lot of Tourette content. Depressed people will mostly be shown.
Well, that's the fucked up part, isn't it? Because people who have Tourette's, maybe it could be helpful for them to be like, how does other people struggle with something? Like, I don't need that because mine aren't that bad. But other people might need it, right? Or it might be helpful, but then you get to a point where people are just faking it.
Depressing content.
And then when the people who actually have Tourette's say, hey, this seems fake, a lot of times they'll be like, oh, you're just, just because they don't have it in the same way as you do. You see how it is? Stolen valor, bro. Stolen valor.
People who are anxious are showed anxiety-inducing content. If the app thinks you're in the same demographic as people who engage with this content, then it will guide you towards it. But the worst thing is that through TikTok's
probably why my TikTok shows me titties all the time. Titties and video games, baby. That's what I'm looking for.
insanely advanced AI algorithms and addictive user design, TikTok will trap you in these thought loops and you won't even be aware that you're in one. In one article by Sadie Lee, she describes her experience on TikTok, where she found herself in this addictive TikTok loop of people self-diagnosing OCD and autism. She described that once she was stuck in this loop of content, she and millions of others would engage with this community of self-diagnosing on TikTok. And this is where the TikTok pipeline takes a very sinister turn, because the true danger of this lies not only in its damage to the people who really suffer from these conditions, but also to TikTok users' own self-development and future progress. Dr. Anthony Daniels highlighted this problem in his book Life at the Bottom, where he described the underdevelopment and poverty of the English underclass. He claimed that the cause of their suffering was due to their mindset and lack of personal responsibility, which was instilled by their family and culture, which is why he recounted that the English underclass weren't suffering from material poverty, but poverty of the soul. And
that is an interesting pipeline to go down. So I mentioned this actually earlier, where there are studies done where, like, if you're somebody who sees other people that are more successful than you, it has a negative impact on you. You're like, well, why aren't I like them? The problem is that's not the entire factor, right? So if you're a poor person and you're not doing particularly well, you might look at somebody who's rich and go like, well, what the fuck's going on there? And there probably is some kind of inequality. We have wealth inequality. But then on the other hand, like, yeah, if you sink too much into that oppression, it can have a negative impact on you. But that doesn't mean that, like, the means to be able to, like, pick yourself up by your bootstraps exists for everybody, because they don't, you know? So it's kind of why they're showing clips of the Peaky Blinders, because I guess that they would be an example of, like, the English underclass.
in working with these people, he described, quote, day after day, I hear of the same violence, the same neglect, the same broken relationships, the same nihilism, the same dumb despair. He recounted that people suffering the most in English society usually happen due to destructive thought loops instilled in them by their culture, where they would adopt this mindset that negates all self-accountability and personal responsibility.
Probably, but then, like, why does the poverty exist in the first place? Well, yeah, we just didn't give them money. We have a lot of money at the top, but fuck that. Yeah, so it's a lot of people chasing money, so they do dangerous shit.
For example, he saw this with alcoholics.
Like, you see that in fucking Peaky Blinders.
He would explain their misconduct while drunk, saying things like the beer made them mad, acting as if the beer drank the alcoholic. And this denial of agency and therefore the personal responsibility gives people excuses to damage their own progress.
It's a little different. I get what you're saying fundamentally. Like, you can stop drinking alcohol, and that is a substance abuse problem. You know, you can't just magically make more money, though. You know what I mean?
They can blame something else. They can blame the alcohol. The murderer can blame the knife. Or in the case of TikTok, the user
no, okay.
can blame their self-diagnosis as an excuse for their self-gratification, pleasure-seeking, lazy attitude that stunts their emotional
Yeah, true. That's true.
and personal development.
True.
And then mixed with the damage TikTok is doing to its users' brains, which is causing a lack of self-control through destroying your attention span. And it's very clear that TikTok is poisoning Generation Z, leaving millions in poverty of the soul, which is a very worrying fact considering
What was that guy?
TikTok is poisoning Generation Z, leaving millions in poverty of the
When you're in the middle of your lift and that blank demon won't leave. Okay. You know, it's, well, for people who work out, the people who are really into working out, some of them are like ex-cons that like actually use working out as like a way to get rid of like their substance abuse and shit. So this guy might actually be real. You know what I mean?
the soul, which is a very worrying fact considering that TikTok is the most used social media site of all time and spending 80 minutes a day watching these videos, allowing TikTok to accrue over 1 billion users
say fucking
all
80?
time and spending 80 minutes a
Oh, kids 4 to 15 spend 80 minutes. Okay, I thought that meant people in general.
day watching these.
Yeah, but so the only problem I have with this study is that like you're saying kids 4 to 15 are spending 80 minutes a day, and that's 2020 when like everybody was home. So it's this is kind of like people aren't able to spend that much time on their phones anymore because people are going back to school, back to work, they have other responsibilities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and they're able to go outside. So this you're using kind of dated studies for some of this. The video's solid. I'm just saying, some of these studies are going to be out of context because people simply don't have the time to use it as much anymore. You know, it's summer. Yeah, no, it is summer, but people are now able to hang out with their friends. They're able to hang out with their families. There is summer school, but there's also daycare, right? So there's a lot of different things that are going on that like kids are able to interact with in different capacities, right?
These videos, allowing TikTok to accrue over 1 billion users and being downloaded over 200 million times in the United States alone. And with TikTok's design making it very easy for almost anyone to go viral, TikTok is now fostering a whole new wave of clout chasing as well.
That's true.
Thanks to TikTok, young people are increasingly buying into the idea that narcissism, not fulfillment, not meaning, not authenticity, but narcissism is the ultimate measure of satisfaction. And is it really any wonder given the warped and corrosive view that's fed to Generation Z's by TikTok's algorithm? I mean,
isn't it crazy? This is the American dream now. Fucking desperately trying to get famous on TikTok, which barely pays you. Like short-lived success. Back in the day, it's like, I want to be a fucking movie star. You know what I mean? Like people would have to work hard for their American dream. Now it's just like you want to like lazily pretend to have fucking autism and then get famous.
I mean, if you're not posting about mental illnesses and denying all personal agency, the other easiest way to go viral on TikTok is to dance provocatively, which is making TikTok a virtual meat market, all for the pleasure of horny teenage droogs and pedos.
True.
That's why if you go on TikTok,
it's also like a really bad pipeline for young girls to do OnlyFans. Mostly, like young guys can do it too, but like these instances where like if you're let's get this shit off. Okay,
with endless insipid videos.
Let's get this off the screen.
Music. I mean, the majority of posts on the sites look like underage girls either showing off their bodies or being explicitly sexual. That's why the Charli D'Amelio's, the most followed people on TikTok.
All right, good. We got all that off the screen. Okay. Like I was saying, it also teaches like young girls to do like OnlyFans when they turn 18. You're 17-year-old girl, you're like, oh, it's easy money, it's easy money, it's easy money, easy money. Boom! All of a sudden, you're doing OnlyFans. You know what I mean? That's like that's a big problem too. It's like it's almost to an extent, in a sense, breeding people to do OnlyFans. Or grooming them, excuse me, that's the word I meant. Grooming people to do OnlyFans. And it's like, it's not fulfilling work. Like, I understand sex work. I understand its existence. I don't think that we should necessarily get rid of it. I think that it's something people generally turn to when they don't have the ability or the means to get work in a different way. But it's not something that we should glorify. The overwhelming majority of people don't want to do OnlyFans. They just want to be able to live. And it's like one of those things where you get pipelined into it. If you start doing OnlyFans when you're like 18 years old and you start doing it, you're probably going to love the money at first and you're going to get like really into it. In a few years, you're going to hate it. You're going to feel objectified. You're going to be miserable. It's the truth. But you're going to have to keep doing it because you didn't develop any other skills. It's really not something that we should be teaching people to get into. So
having over 100 million followers, just shake their ass to earworm music.
I will say, Charli D'Amelio, when she first started, didn't do that kind of shit. Once she turned like 17, 18, she started to take like a twist into a little bit more sexualized content. It is a little bit different. It's not really how she started.
All for the creepy pleasure of horny men.
Oh my god, the fucking buddy. Oh, this guy's a fucking pipeline to go down in and of itself.
And what's even worse is that most of these TikTok stars haven't even left school. But nonetheless, this is in turn incentive.
Well, somebody's parents need to start beating their kids. That's all I'm saying. You think my fucking kid's gonna be doing this? No. I'm gonna push them down a flight of stairs, break your legs. Try to dance now, bitch. I'm just kidding.
Advising the girls watching to mimic that exact behavior, all for the chance of getting more views and more likes. And this trend couldn't be better summed up than with the rise of
Hey, I like My Hero Academia. What the fuck?
Exact behavior, all for the chance of getting more views and more likes. And this trend couldn't be better summed up than with the rise.
Is that just a cosplay video? Or, I mean, that might just be cosplay. That one might just be cosplay.
TikTok videos catalyzing OnlyFans success, where TikTokers lure Sims to their OnlyFans pages, where these horny Sims will fork over.
What do you mean lure Sims to their OnlyFans? I'm not trying to be an asshole.
For their hard-earned cash for a virtual girlfriend experience.
All right. Listen, I don't like the framing of this. It's a little bit incel-y. And the only reason I'm saying that is because, first of all, this concept of like OnlyFans girls are luring, like you're both victims, okay? The girl who is fucking groomed into doing OnlyFans and like that's her only option to make money is a fucking victim. And the guy that's like desperate for attention and like has extra money, like he's a victim too. But additionally, not only incels use OnlyFans, okay? It's fucking porn. Everybody uses porn. You'd be surprised who uses OnlyFans. They won't admit it, but they do, okay? I used to use it. It was interesting. I stopped, though, because it was, like, boring. But some people do it. All right? It's not, like, that fucking crazy. A lot of people use it. Okay? And Mia Khalifa isn't, like, every OnlyFans person. Okay? I'm just saying. You'd find some solid BBWs on there. Okay? It's interesting. The only reason I use it, though, is because I had one for a while. because I made like a joke one, and I made some money, but I made like a joking one, and then I was like, well, I'm on it. And then, dude, one girl, when I was big on TikTok, she gave me a free year, and I was like, shit, this isn't bad. So, you know. Then I had a friend at the time who used to use OnlyFans. You know, a lot of you know, goth. One of them was like a kind of a goth mommy. Anyway, point is, normal people use it too. Okay. All right.
Lure simps to their OnlyFans pages, where these horny simps will fork over their hard-earned cash for a virtual girlfriend experience. Like OnlyFans user Gothegg, who described how she used her TikTok virality to make $200,000 a month on OnlyFans.
Damn.
In just the space of 5 months.
I guess good for her. See, that's the problem. That's not everybody's experience. A lot, and you know what the big problem too is, like, people are like, "Oh, girls, don't worry, go on. You'll make so much money on OnlyFans." Blah blah blah. Okay, but you have to show everything. You have to show everything. They think that you're going to be in a bra and panties. You're not a celebrity. Okay? And if you think Big Titty Gothegg is making $200,000 a year off of just simps, I'm just saying, bro.
Other top OnlyFans creators have also spoken about how TikTok has enabled them to become these hyper-affluent online stars.
Yeah, I mean, TikTok is a really good platform for advertising everything.
And this phenomenon wouldn't be happening anywhere near as quickly if not for TikTok, where TikTok is catalyzing this wave of desperate simps to hand over the money to these people who influence their everyday lives. And
I just don't like that it's like the porn star's fault. You know what I mean? Like, it's a dude. Come on.
This trend became even darker when a Wall Street Journal investigation on TikTok found that when you said you were 13 years old and searched for OnlyFans on the app, the algorithm would bombard you with videos about adult entertainment and drugs.
Well, that's not good. I mean, if you're 13, you shouldn't be able to see any of that stuff.
It's become.
I mean, you could just lie, but chances are, if a parent sets it up the right way for your account, you should be. If you're 13, you should never interact with any of this type of content. Like, there should literally be like content that doesn't let people under the age of 18 interact with it.
It's very clear that TikTok is destroying Generation Z, and there's almost no way these young children can even defend themselves when they're up against some of the most advanced AI technology and sophisticated algorithms the world has ever seen. And
it's probably worse for young people, absolutely. You know, once you're a little more mentally developed, you're probably not as big of a deal.
TikTok doesn't just turn a blind eye either. These algorithms are designed to expose innocent minds to the most depraved things on the platform.
Well, no, they're just designed to make money. Like, I don't think that there's like, I don't think, we're getting a little conspiratorial. Is that a word? Anyway, we're getting into like the realm of conspiracy when we say they are intentionally doing this thing. I think that they're just trying to make money and they don't give a fuck about people. And it's still not good, but it's not like they're like, let's get this 13-year-old to look at jiggly tits. But also, when I was 13, we didn't have TikTok, but we did have Girls Gone Wild commercials that were on the E! Network after like 12 o'clock. Right? So, has that much changed? How much has really changed? Okay? You remember those? It's 2 a.m.? 2 a.m. Yo. Girls Gone Wild. Sitting there painting my TV. Oh, Jesus Christ. I think the worst part about it is that back in the day, you were limited. Your magazine or a TV show with boobies. Now you can go on the internet and you search big boobas on the internet, and all of a sudden you're watching girls piss on each other, and now you are a depraved fucking individual that develops like these really, really horrible fetishes. It's true.
This is when the TikTok pipeline becomes very sinister. A recent study recently found that 16% of toddlers aged 3 to 4 are now on TikTok. The age restrictions on TikTok are so easy to fool.
Well, that's not TikTok's fault, though, right? We understand that TikTok, that's not TikTok's fault. That's the parents who are like, let's just put our kid on TikTok. That's the parents' fault. You can't fault TikTok for the parents being irresponsible. A 3 or 4-year-old literally cannot navigate to TikTok without the help of their mom or dad. They don't know how to create an account. Okay, they're stupid as shit because then they have to create an email address. Do you think they can do that? They don't even know Gmail.com. Like, what are you talking about? This is the parents' fault. Okay, that's the problem.
That a toddler can do it, and they often do. And this number of toddlers on TikTok is only projected to grow, and these toddlers will be victims of all the things I've just spoken about. We have no idea the
well, I mean, I feel like CoComelon's just as bad for these dumb fucks as these dumb fucking toddlers as TikTok.
damage this will do to the younger generation. But let's not forget, TikTok is complicit in all of this. As these children grow up, they are going to be exposed to increasingly depraved content. Their culture, their personality.
See, if this was my kid, you're not gonna have TikTok. But Dad, my friend Becky has it. That's not my fucking kid. You're not gonna have TikTok. Go play fucking Call of Duty and shout bigoted words at each other, but you're not going to go on here and have TikTok, okay? That's one thing's okay. You can be racist, but you cannot be on TikTok. Jesus Christ. I'm just fucking kidding. But seriously, I'm not going to let my kid go on, like, you're not making TikToks. Get the fuck out of here. That's insane. That's fucking insane, dude.
Will be shaped by TikTok. These young, impressionable toddlers are being shaped by TikTok.
What is this? Get it off my screen. Dude, what the fuck? Why do you have your kid in a fucking bathtub on TikTok? What are you doing? What is wrong with you? That should be child abuse. I'm not kidding. That's disgusting. I know that she was dressed up, but like, what is that for? Who is that for? Oh, here's my little baby in the pool, in the fucking bed. What are you doing? What's wrong with these fucking parents? What's wrong with you? Oh, well, it's so cute. Shut up. I'm gonna push you on the floor. Like, I get the parents that make the TikToks with their kid and they film their kid a little bit and they kind of, like, whatever. You could argue that that's like a new wave of, like, photo albums where back in the day you would actually make a photo album. But that kind of shit, dude, the fuck is the matter with you?
And only time will tell what effect this will have in the future. But one thing is for some...
Only time will tell what effect this will have in the future. Well, yes. That's true.
TikTok is manipulating the minds of over 1 billion people. And the worst part is, TikTok's damage is very insidious. Almost no one knows about this. The research is only just beginning to appear, and if TikTok keeps growing and expanding as it is, we're only going to hear more and more of these terrifying tales in the near future. We have no...
U.S. suicide rates per 1 million girls. Oh, it seems to be going up. Well, are these attempt rates? I wonder. Yeah, I think these are attempt rates.
No idea the long-term damage this is doing, and yet the younger generations are being completely addicted to the app. I mean, how many of your friends and family are already addicted to the app? The worst part is that this pipeline is all deliberate. This is just part of a plan. It's manufactured, which is...
What's the plan? To get people to watch. Like, there's nothing insidious about it, probably.
Why TikTok is considered the world's biggest cyber threat. This is the part that makes TikTok...
No, it's not. Dude, okay, the reason that it's considered a cyber threat isn't because of the, addictive nature of the app. It's because the idea is that China might have access to the like personal information. That's what makes it a threat. Like the way that we're talking about this here is very sensationalized, and like it's ironic that we're talking about the increase in like suicidality and whatnot, but like some of the actions you're making are the actions of that, like why that's happening fundamentally. Like the media sensationalizing the story to get people to buy into it. Like you're doing the same thing. What you're saying isn't contextually accurate, and you're kind of having that impact of like, oh, that sensationalization impact.
A matter of genuine
so I'm just saying.
Concern and a threat to national security, because the people who control TikTok's algorithms are the people rewiring the brains of Generation Z. They are brainwashing the youngest among us, and they are doing this.
What did you just say?
Algorithms are the people rewiring the brains of Generation Z. They are brainwashing the youngest among us.
Oh my God. Now that's sus. That's suspicious.
And they are doing this on the orders of the Chinese government. That's why the Chinese version of TikTok is the complete opposite of the West. Instead, on the Chinese version of TikTok, all videos that are flagged as degenerate by the Chinese government are actively removed.
Well, I mean, so...
And yet at the same time, the algorithm promotes videos of hardworking everyday people sharing their life and work accomplishments.
So I understand what's happening here. I understand what you're saying. We have to be a little bit careful about the way that we're like sensationalizing and glorifying Chinese TikTok. Because on the one hand, it's a good thing to promote like hardworking efforts. Absolutely. On the other hand, when you say like they pull down offensive material, what did you say?
Of the West. Instead, on the Chinese version of TikTok, all videos that are flagged as degenerate by the Chinese government.
Degenerate by the Chinese government, a lot of things are considered degenerate by the Chinese government. For instance, gay people, right? So the existence of Taiwan, right? So when we talk about what's considered degenerate, I mean, they've gone far past the limit into like suppression of people's ability to express themselves as people, right? It's a Chinese they're using it as a Chinese propaganda scheme in China. In America, the people are free to do whatever the psychotic shit they want to do, right? So you kind of pick your poison. Do you want to be oppressed in China and only seeing hardworking memes, or do you want to pretend to be oppressed in America where you're actually not that depressed? You know what I'm saying? So like, there's goods and bads for both sides. But you really should, like, again, like we're the way we got to be so careful about pointing to China as like a really good place when people there, let's not even talk about like rights for marginalized groups. Their workers, the everyday person is just treated like shit comparatively to like in America. Like wealth isn't, we have wealth distribution problems, but like it's even worse over there. They throw human suffering at fucking every project. That's why things are so cheap from China, because they don't get paid money and they die of everything, right? It's like, it's obviously going to be different depending on where you are there, but overall the experience is like much worse. There's a massive suppression of freedom of speech. Like we really got to be careful about going like, yeah, China's doing it right. No, they're not. If you lived there, you would be miserable as fuck. Okay? You just really need to, you really need to be careful about this, because it's not smart. And it's like a very privileged perspective to point to China as like a woohoo moment. Okay? It is like a really not a good thing. I've seen people do it. I see people in the high value male sphere do it. Like it's weirdly like conservatives kind of do it, which is bizarre because China's like a communist country, kind of, right? Ish. And it's bizarre that they'll say communism bad until it comes to saying China good and, you know, America bad, you know?
Life and work accomplishments. And as you'd expect, these videos are generally wholesome, upbeat, and positive, with there being a literal section on the Chinese TikTok called Positive Energy to promote the Communist Party. But in the West, TikTok promotes the exact opposite.
Well, no, it doesn't promote anything. No. In China, they're using it as propaganda. Do you hear what you're fucking saying? Yeah, you got a bunch of upbeat factory workers getting paid pennies an hour. They're forcing them to dance for their job. If that happened in America, if a fucking person that works at McDonald's makes like a pro McDonald's ad, we're shitting down the throats of McDonald's for potentially forcing them to do this for PR. But in China, if they're pushing like some communist bullshit and like stripping you of your identity, all of a sudden, it's all good, brother. We don't give a fuck, bro. Come on. The framing of this is a little bit suspicious. It is a little bit rough. Okay.
On our version of TikTok, we're bombarded with girls shaking their ass to musical earworms, where mental illness is glorified.
Sure, that's not good, but like it's still better than in China. This is just fun. The culture is generally better. Well, your freedoms are. Okay.
Glorified as a virtue. But then back in China, Xi Jinping's Rejuvenation of the Nation project is shielding the population from the damage TikTok does to the global population. And considering TikTok is run by ByteDance, a subsidiary of China's dictatorship, you start to realize why this app is a major cyber threat. Not only for TikTok's creation of the mental illness pipeline, but also from the data TikTok is extracting from you in the process. TikTok collects biometric identifiers and biometric information.
Yeah, so here's the thing, is that like right now, the deal, in order for them to stay, because Trump was going to ban it, is that China has to outsource to an American company, which I think is like a subsidiary of Walmart or something. It's so bizarre. And it has to be, the data servers have to be run by America and American companies to protect cybersecurity. I believe this is how it is. The problem is that theoretically or potentially, Chinese officials can potentially get access to our information through a particular means that might be a little difficult, but not difficult enough. And this is the problem with TikTok, right? Like I've looked into this like pretty well, because I was like, I was active on TikTok during this whole thing, and I was like, yeah, ban that fucking site. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of the thing there.
All your data, including face prints and voice prints, are being stored in the Chinese government's massive database.
Potentially.
As Human Rights Watch has warned in the past, the Chinese government has been collecting highly personal data for years, all in an effort to bolster its biometric database. And as the CCP gains more and more influence over
that's a real thing, I think. I remember watching a video about how they have this. I don't know if they can do it from here.
The world, it's obvious to almost all world governments that TikTok is a Trojan horse. The billion TikTok users around the world provides the CCP an inconceivable amount of highly personal information, and TikTok collects way more information than any other social media site. It collects everything you do, all the websites you visit, all the apps you go on.
Well, that's what every wait, no, can we not pretend that that's not normal? Hold on.
More information than any other social media site.
No, it doesn't. What are you talking about? Every single social media site will absorb the information of that, anything that they can get. They'll absorb like your research patterns, your email address, the different videos you watch. It's all a culmination. That's why I literally said I was having a conversation at a fucking family outing about potentially getting watching anime and getting Crunchyroll, and I have gotten literally over the past 2 days like probably 20 or 30 ads for the new fucking Dragon Ball Z movie on Crunchyroll, but only in theaters by Crunchyroll. Like, this is what happens. Like, even if you speak out loud, you're gonna fucking hear this shit. It's not just TikTok. It is Facebook. It is Google. It is everybody. It's everything. The issue is that even though we don't really, there's pros and cons. The pro is that you get stuff, you know, the ads targeted towards you, so you can get better consumption. The con is that then you're kind of like mentally encouraged to buy shit you don't need. right? But the biggest issue is that it's China getting it, and like they are ideologically our enemy.
It collects everything you do, all the websites you visit, all the apps you go on, how your voice sounds, your fingerprints.
That might, I don't know if that's true. I feel like that I don't know if they have the technology to do all of this. Maybe they do. I don't know about you would have to have fingerprint technology on your phone in order for them to get your fingerprint. This is getting a little bit like conspiracy-ish here. I don't know. I feel like I can't trust all this information. Some of it's good, but some of this is like a little insane. But okay.
Everything. And the only reason ByteDance is allowed to be a multi-billion company is because it does the work for the Chinese government. The corporation is, quote, launching a full front assault on China's market, according to the South China Morning Post, as it seeks to win top rank in the country's internet world. And ByteDance is doing this by...
Yeah, some phones do have fingerprint and face. I don't know if they have access to everything. But, I mean, maybe. Okay, so I guess if it's stored on your phone, then maybe they can access that information. That's possible. I wonder if they actually get access to it, though. I guess it would be stored within, like, the American database, like I was saying. I don't know. Maybe it does. I mean, I didn't put my fingerprint on my phone. I guess I was thinking, too, like in the moment, like, they could sense your fingerprint. But I guess if it's information that you have in your phone already, then possible.
By hoovering up as many users and as much data as...
Yeah, I guess they do ask for privileges. It's possible. Yeah, your face opens your phone. Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's what it is. I mean, damn. You know what? I guess the protection would be if it gets outside of the American company that runs it in America.
Possible with its strong algorithms. And so China actively supports ByteDance. ByteDance's top board of directors is littered with Chinese officials. It is one of the most effective weapons in the global information war, as it allows the Chinese government to collect biometric data all across the world, from Ecuador, Ethiopia, and the United States. And if you're still not convinced by this, look at this report dubbed China Standards 2035, which looks at how artificial intelligence and big data is helping China become the dominant world force. China is leveraging their technology to take over the world. Given that almost none of the world have robust biometric privacy regulations, this data exploitation is a very serious issue. The only light at the end of this tunnel is that governments are waking up to this reality, either because of politics, data security reasons, the effects on mental health, or all the other reasons we've laid out. It is clear that there is a general pattern of governments banning TikTok. India, Indonesia, and Bangladesh have all banned the app, and the USA is very close to banning the app. In fact, it almost did ban the app under Trump's government.
Woo, yay Trump. Just kidding.
But Biden stepped in to pause this move. But even
yeah, the moment you get a smartphone, you do surrender your privacy. It's more about like who are you surrendering it to. Like it's like, yeah, I'm okay. To be completely honest, I don't really want anybody having my privacy, but I'm more okay with America having my privacy than fucking China. You know what I mean?
Now Biden's having to backtrack, saying, quote, TikTok is a matter of genuine concern. And so if corrupt governments can resist the lure of TikTok's lobbyists, TikTok won't be allowed to keep ruining the future of the world. Hopefully it won't.
What do you say?
But Biden stepped in to pause this move. But even now, Biden's
I gotta play with it. Hold on.
having to backtrack, saying, quote, TikTok is a matter of genuine concern. And so if corrupt governments can resist the lure of TikTok's lobbyists, TikTok won't be allowed to keep ruining the future of the world.
Wait, that's such a weird statement.
Concern. And so if corrupt governments can resist
if corrupt governments can resist the lure of TikTok's lobbyists,
TikTok won't be allowed.
It won't. I'm so confused. It's a weird. It just feels like a weird jab at like America. Am I misinterpreting that? I feel like this video, like India. Oh, maybe he's referring to India. Okay, maybe. All right.
To keep ruining the future of the world. Hopefully it won't be too late before people wake up to the reality of the casualties of TikTok, but I worry that it's already too late. TikTok is a leash that's sucking away the energy and potential of the youth, so protect your mind and country and delete TikTok today.
Can't do it, brother. I got too many views. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.